Hey guys, Dave Lee here with another Blu-ray DVD collection update / haul video. This one is for the month of January 2021. Can you believe it? There's a lot to look at today. We've done another massive JB Hi-Fi binge, of course. Lots of big sales over this time of year. And of course, we've got a stack of titles we've got to take a look at for my pals over at the local distributors as well. There's a lot to take a look at today, so let's get into it. Alright, so we're going to kick this off by taking a look at a bunch of newly released titles that have been sent in to me by my friends over at the local distributors. Firstly, we're going to take a look at Madman Entertainment. Now, I was actually supposed to receive Blu-rays of these two titles. Unfortunately, a mix-up happened at the warehouse. Madman actually wants me to look at the Blu-rays, so they're going to be sending the Blu-rays over. Unfortunately, they haven't arrived in time for this video, so I'll be taking a look at them in the February video. But that said, they did say to me, if you want, do a giveaway with the two DVDs, so that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be giving away these two DVDs here to one very lucky Australian subscriber. We are, of course, taking a look at Jiu-Jitsu. This is a martial arts science fiction film that stars Nicolas Cage right there. It centers on an ancient order of expert Jiu-Jitsu fighters facing fearsome alien invaders in a battle for Earth every 6 years. So it looks quite cool there. And this one right here is Savage. This is a New Zealand film. It kind of traces this guy's life from childhood until he eventually becomes like this leader of this like New Zealand street gang sort of thing. So I've got these two movies to take a look at. I'm very excited to actually watch these two once I get the Blu-rays in. And as I said, I'll review them next month. But for now, if you would like to win these two titles, I'll be sending these out myself personally. If you're an Australian subscriber, you can enter. Down in the comments below, I just want you to let me know either what is your favorite like straight-to-home media Nicolas Cage B movie, and or otherwise, let me know what is your favourite film that's come out of New Zealand, your favourite Kiwi film. Let me know either of those down below. I'll pick a winner at random. I think I'm going to run this for a week until the 8th of February. So I've got a week to get to that. And yeah, enter away down below and I'll get in touch with the winner out there. Alright, so let's take a look at a bunch of titles for Viavision Entertainment. Firstly, we'll start with these ones. I'm going to just very briefly skim over these because I will be doing a separate video for these as I do. This is their latest selection of titles in the Imprint range. So this is a sub-label of Viavision. These are the latest 5 titles, from their Imprint range. We've got Rage, which is a film from 1966, which stars Glenn Ford and Stella Stevens. Year of the Dragon with Mickey Rourke. Fire in the Sky, which is this really great sort of gritty sci-fi film from the 1990s. The Deep, which stars Robert Shaw. It's based on a novel by Robert Bentley, who also wrote Jaws, made sort of around the same time. And Dead Again. This one has got Kenneth Branagh and Emma Thompson. It's like a murder mystery kind of thing. And At Close Range, a crime thriller with Christopher Walken and Sean Penn. All of these films are absolutely fantastic. I've watched them all. Just very brief kind of footnotes, overview of these. Transfers on all of these are stunning. I don't have a problem with any of the titles out of this lot right here. So this, if you are looking at picking these up, I would suggest definitely go and pick these ones up. I think they're selling out really, really quickly, so I would get on them straight away. As always, as I said, I will be doing a separate video for these where I'll kind of be breaking down my thoughts on each of the films and the transfers and the special features and all that kind of stuff. But there's your brief kind of overview of those Imprint line releases right there. I think we've got another wave coming out in February, so I'm excited to take a look at those as well. Next up, we've got a couple of television series box sets to take a look at for Viavision. We'll start with this one right here. It is The Dead Zone, the complete series. Seasons 1 to 6 of The Dead Zone. This was a series that ran from, I think, like 2002 to 2007, 2008, something like that, sort of early to mid-2000s. It's, of course, based on the Stephen King novel, The Dead Zone. As I said, this has got every single season in there right there. I'm not sure if this is the first time it's been issued as a complete box set. I know these have been available individually, and they have been out of print for some time, and now Viavision has finally got them back on the local market, which is really awesome. This is a show that I never really watched a whole lot of, but I always saw bits and pieces of it when it was on TV and wanted to watch a lot more of it. So I'm very excited to finally get my hands on the DVD right here. Now, of course, I said this is based on the Stephen King novel, The Dead Zone. Essentially, this guy gets in a horrific accident and goes into a coma. And when he wakes up from his coma, he realizes that he has these supernatural powers. So essentially, if he touches someone, he can either see their future or can see their past. And he decides to put these powers to good use and use them to help solve crimes or help prevent crimes from happening. Really, really cool premise, and it is a really, really cool series, again, from the bits and pieces that I have seen over the years. Now, there was actually a movie version of this as well, which Viavision have available. This has been on the market for a number of years now. I think it's still in print, so you should be able to get that. It's got Christopher Walken in there and Martin Sheen. Really, really fantastic movie. Now, the pilot episode of this series right here, which I did take a look at, is a feature-length one. It's sort of like 2 episodes stitched together, and it is essentially like a remake of the film. I guess the film and the pilot of this do borrow heavily from the novel, but also there are elements that are in the film that aren't in the novel that then also carry across into the pilot for this. So this is sort of like, again, a reimagining of the film as a series as well as an adaptation of the book. Really, really great series, as I said, and it just, the premise lends itself so well, not only to like a one-shot sort of Stephen King, I guess, novella sort of story kind of thing, but also lends itself very, very well to like one of these crime TV shows where this guy can use his psychic powers to solve crimes or prevent crimes from happening, working with the local authorities and all that kind of stuff there. Really, really fantastic series. The picture quality on this is great. It's what you would expect for DVDs from a series from this time. Again, I believe these have been available on the local market before individually, so I'm imagining that Viavision have just used the previous ports that have been available, and it's all fantastic. And look, there's a whole slew of special features on there as well if you're interested in taking a look through them, if you love this show. So there you go, check out the Dead Zone complete series 1 to 6. It's available on DVD right now. Also from Viavision is Return to Eden, the complete collection. This is a soap opera from Australia, completely trashy thing from the mid-1980s. I believe it started in 1984. It started as a 3-part miniseries, which was so incredibly popular at the time that they brought it back as like a fully fledged TV show. They did a season of 22 episodes. It failed to get picked up for a second season. They had hoped to do a second season. So what they actually had to do was they did a revised version of the final episode and re-aired it. Which had like, they added stuff to it to kind of tie up loose ends from the series that would have been addressed in season 2. So that version, I think both versions of the final episode are on here. Now this is a series that has become a real cult favorite thing in Australia. It's so bad, it's so trashy, it's so soapy. As you can see by those stunning faces on the cover right there, this is like totally like Bold and the Beautiful dynasty kind of territory right here. But it's so much fun. It's one of those things you just can't look away from. And it's something I've wanted to see for a very, very long time. This was available previously. The miniseries and the series itself were available individually, but they've been out of print for a very, very, very long time. As far as like Holy Grail DVDs, like they're at the top of the list for many, many people. So a lot of people are so excited that they've finally been reissued again in a complete collection. It's the very first time that they're available in a complete collection. Essentially, this tells the story of a bunch of rich people. The main character, Stephanie Harper, is a rich socialite who lives in the Northern Territory, and she meets this rich socialite and she moves in with him, and he ends up cheating on her, and there's all these scandals and just all this crazy stuff ends up happening. There's a bit with like a crocodile, and it's just like what you would imagine from a show like this. It just goes from one kind of extent to the next. As far as crazy soap opera stuff happens, there's no doubt in my mind why this got cancelled. I mean, it's so obvious when you watch it. I think at the time, people probably realised, yeah, this is actually really bad. But it's so much fun. And you've got to check it out, especially if you're a fan of these kind of cult, like really bad sort of car wreck television movie kind of things. Or if you're just a fan of Australian cinema, it is a really important part of Australian television and cinema history. And I'm so glad I finally got my hands on it from Viavision. I'm gonna smash my way through all of this. I did take a look at a decent chunk of it. It's so much fun. So definitely get onto that and check that one out right now. Return to Eden, the complete collection, before it goes out of print again. Get to it. Next up, we're going to take a look at a bunch of titles that have been sent in from my friends over at Umbrella Entertainment. Firstly, we'll take a look at this one right here. This is Steven Spielberg Presents Amazing Stories. the complete series. This is seasons 1 and 2 of the show to form the complete series. I believe they have been available individually in the past, but this is, I think, the first time they've been brought together as a complete collection. Now, again, we talk about like holy grails of shows and DVDs and stuff. This is one of those for me. It's ones that, you know, the individual sets went out of print and have been out of print for quite some time, and I've just never been able to get my hands on it and finally have it. This show's terrific. I watched a bunch of it. I had never seen it before. It's one of those things that I've just always wanted to see. Finally got my hands on it, and I've watched a bunch of episodes, and it's terrific. It's so wonderful. It's an anthology series, so each episode tells a different story with different actors, different filmmakers, different writers, all that kind of stuff. But a lot of these anthology shows usually have some sort of theme that ties them all together. So if you think of like The Outer Limits or The Twilight Zone, it's always like sci-fi horror kind of stuff about aliens and monsters and whatever. Or if you think of like Hammer House of Horror, they're all horror stories. This one right here has no kind of overarching theme. It's just a bunch of different stories. Most of them are fairly fantastical in nature, but there's a lot of just kind of really dramatic ones as well. And kind of the idea behind this is each episode is essentially like a mini movie. It's like a short film. And there are not only live action things, there's animated ones, there are like ones with the kind of like puppets and stuff like that. And it's just this whole breadth of kind of storytelling. All these different forms of storytelling. Comedies, dramas, horrors, fantasies. It's crazy. And now the wonderful thing with this is with Steven Spielberg behind this, the might of Steven Spielberg, the amount of talent that was drawn to this production is almost immeasurable when you think of a series like this. Directors on board this show included Steven Spielberg, Martin Scorsese, Clint Eastwood, Bob Balaban, Robert Zemeckis, Burt Reynolds, Joe Dante, Brad Bird, Irvin Kershner, Tobe Hooper, and Danny DeVito, all directed episodes, amongst many, many others. And starring in this show, I've got them written here because I know I'm going to forget some, Tim Robbins, Charlie Sheen, Beau Bridges, Kevin Costner, Kiefer Sutherland, Sid Caesar, Dom DeLuise, Danny DeVito, Harvey Keitel, Sam Waterston, Patrick Swayze, Hayley Mills, Jonathan Lithgow, David Carradine, and Weird Al Yankovic. There are so many people in this and so many great creatives behind it. It's wonderful. Again, as I was saying, my favorite thing about this is that each episode feels like a mini movie, right? And each episode takes on the style of a film of its respective director. So for example, one of the Steven Spielberg episodes, Spielberg directed 2 episodes in this. And I should say, he actually wrote the story for a vast majority of the shows. I think every episode from season 1 and then maybe like the first 3 of season 2, Spielberg actually wrote the stories for. And he wrote a number of the screenplays as well. Now, one of the Spielberg episodes is called The Ghost Train. It's about this family. They build a house on top of an old set of railway tracks where there was a huge disaster at one point in history. And there's this old guy that kind of comes to the homestead and says one day that ghost train is going to come back. And one night the ghost train does come back and it kind of roars through the house. In true Spielberg style, the house starts rattling, there's fog, there's lights flashing like blue and red lights, and the music swirls, and there's just wind fluttering through people's hair, and the curtains and everything just going crazy. It's such early Steven Spielberg visually, thematically. Think of something like Close Encounters. You know that scene in Close Encounters where like the doors are blowing open and like it's just so visually, aesthetically like that. And the best thing about this episode and the other Steven Spielberg episode is that the scores were done by John Williams. None other than John Williams came and did the scores. And it just feels like a Spielberg movie. It feels like you're watching one of those early Spielberg films like Close Encounters of the Third Kind. It's just such a wonderful show. And again, the Scorsese episode just takes on that Scorsese feel. The Eastwood episode takes on that real kind of gritty Eastwood feel. Terrific show. If you love your cinema, you have to get this series. This is a must-have, in my opinion. As far as reissues go, Umbrella Entertainment have reissued the Coen Brothers film Barton Fink. This is a terrific movie. Again, this has been available on Blu-ray in the past. I wasn't aware that it had gone out of print, but it must have because Umbrella have now done a reissue of it. And of course, as they always do, they have the reversible covers. So you either have the option, that's how it'll come when you see it in the store, or receive it from Amazon or Umbrella's website or anything, it'll come with the ratings logo down there. That has a reversible cover to get rid of it, which is nice. Nice clean cover there. This is a terrific movie. John Turturro is a screenwriter who is hired to write a film, but he has writer's block. And he ends up kind of getting his inspiration from some really weird places. He kind of gets mixed up with a really terrible crowd. And I don't want to say too much, because if you haven't seen it, it's just surprise after surprise after twist after twist. John Turturro and John Goodman both deliver terrific performances. Like, John Goodman is just totally off his rocker in this film. And it is so wonderful. And if you haven't seen, you haven't got your hands on this one, you definitely need to. It's a very early Coen Brothers film from 1991, but it is, in my opinion, one of their best and one of my favorites of their work. So definitely get onto that one. And also from Umbrella, we've got two classic Australian movies getting their first time issues on Blu-ray. Cannot be more excited about these. As you know, I have been really kind of bulking up my Australian cinema collection on Blu-ray. I realized it was just something that I kind of neglected over the years. I am a huge fan of Australian cinema. I love to support the local film industry, and I love our vast array of films. There's been a lot of really dud Australian films, but there have been some really fantastic ones as well. And this one right here, Dingo, is no exception. This is the second installment in their Sunburnt Screens range. This is the newest range, the newest label that they have launched over at Umbrella. And it's essentially a way to reissue classic Aussie films. A lot of the other stuff that they have issued is like, I guess, kind of like exploitation films, Ozploitation movies, genre films. But now they're finally getting to this territory where they're bringing these really classic movies. I mean, they always have, but they finally have a label now which just focuses on truly classic Australian films with new transfers. This one right here is actually one that I'd never heard of before. Stranger, I'd never actually heard of this one. It's a film that's directed by Rolf de Heer. It stars Colin Friels and Miles Davis, classic trumpeter Miles Davis. And this is such a beautiful film. It's set in outback Australia. Miles Davis, he's playing like a big, like world-famous trumpet player, and he lands down in outback Australia and ends up playing like a little like a trumpet concert for the locals. And there's one boy who is eventually grows to be the Colin Friel character, is so inspired by that he wants to become the greatest trumpeter in the world, essentially. And it's this movie about this guy's fight for his passion and fight for his love, and kind of striving to be the best version of himself and to reach his dreams and stardom. It's just such a wonderful, beautiful, touching film. And it's a movie that I feel like has been kind of brushed under the carpet over the years, because again, as I said, I love my Aussie cinema, and this is one that I've never really heard of, and I've obviously never watched or come across before. There's a bunch of special features on here too. In particular, there's an interview with director Rolf de Heer, which is really wonderful. Again, it's been produced during the pandemic, so they've obviously just produced it like last year, so it is like a Zoom conversation. Now, this has been completely remastered, I believe, in 4K, yeah, so it's newly restored and remastered from a 4K scan. And it looks stunning, looks stellar. Like, it almost looks like you're watching a 4K disc. When you watch it, it's so crystal clear, and the colors are so beautiful. It's not an overly colorful movie, but it is set in the Australian outback, so you've got those rich red, earthy tones, and they just look so gorgeous. And again, the texture of the film and the crisp nature of the visuals, it's just, it's so wonderful. Like skin pores and everything, beads of sweat. It is like you're watching a 4K disc. It's a stellar transfer. I can't recommend this label enough. Really, anything Umbrella brings out is top notch. But this range right here, Sunburnt Screens, get on that right away while you can. I'm not too sure how long these ones are going to stick around. I know some of the Umbrella stuff goes out of print fairly quickly. Another classic Aussie title that's just got a reissue from Umbrella is The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie. This is one of my favourite Aussie films of all time. Very, very controversial movie. It stars Barry Crocker as Barry Mackenzie and Barry Humphries as Dame Edna. Dame Edna Everage, which is like a classic Australian character that is famous worldwide, very famous over in the UK and whatever else. This is kind of one of the earliest kind of, I guess, screen appearances of Dame Edna anyway. And this film is, I don't know how you explain this movie. It's so over the top. It's so crazy. As I said, very controversial. It's a product of its time. So there's a lot of really racial things in here. A lot of kind of, I guess, sexist, misogynist stuff in here as well. It is a product of its time. 1972, this was made. A lot of very, very crude humor. It's a very crude movie. But this was made as a satire. The film was made as a satire. And so a lot of the jokes, a lot of the humor that comes from it isn't done in a malicious way. It's done in a very satirical way. But then at the end of the day, there's a lot of just very offensive stuff in here as well. So be careful. I think this is a movie that has to pick its audience. But as I'm saying, it was trying to be a satire, but kind of came off as something completely different. A lot of the stuff that's in this, you would not get away with today. Like, they were very lucky to get away with it even in the 1970s. And I feel like a lot of misconceptions people have of Australia came from this movie. I guess about our culture, about the way we are as a people, and our the way we are kind of stem from this, because this movie became like a cult classic around the world, and kind of put a very bad spin on Australian culture. We'll say that. But again, it was meant to be a satire, and people took it fairly literally. Even people in Australia took it very literally and started acting out as if they were the characters in the movie. And in a way, I guess it did kind of have this kind of adverse reaction to the culture of Australia that, in some respects, we still haven't been able to kick to this day. So a lot of that stuff does stem from this movie. Again, very controversial. There's a lot of stuff in it that even I'm watching it and going, like, actually feeling like that is very offensive. Like, very offensive stuff in here. There's a lot of stuff that you just can't laugh at in here as well. But it's an important movie to look at as a product of its time. And again, it isn't an Ozploitation film, and all of these Ozploitation movies are like this. They are a product of their time, and you need to view them through the lens of an audience at that time. You need to view it through the lens of how it was made and why it was made and what the intention behind it was. And I guess we kind of look back on stuff like this, and it helps us realize the error of our ways, and helps us realize how we can be better and how we can go forward as a society, or how we have moved forward as a society in the 40, 50 years since this film was made. It's a terrific movie, though. It is very funny. Not all of the humor is offensive or, or anything like that. There is a lot of just genuinely very, very funny humor in here as well. Over-the-top, crude humor. The way this package has been designed, by the way, is gorgeous. So it comes in a slipcover. They've rebranded the Ozploitation range. It is now a collection that comes in a slipcover. Comes in a slipcover, and they're numbered now. So we've got number 1, which is The Adventures of Barry Mackenzie. Of course, the Ozploitation line is a line that's been going on for ages with Umbrella, but now they've rebranded, they've got slipcovers, and they've got numbers now, which is pretty cool, I think. So I would recommend this if you're into Australian cinema, if you're into just kind of weird, quirky, kind of relics of their time. I would check this one out. Again, it is a really wonderful movie, and it is one of those movies that does have a really great heart, but it's also very offensive at the same time. There's a lot of stuff in here that is just really awful. But yeah, check that one out right there, and I'm very excited to see what else they release in this newly rebranded Ozploitation Classics line. Speaking of the Ozploitation Classics, as I said, there's been a huge range of them in the past, dozens and dozens of titles. I have collected pretty much all of them, and there have been two that have gone out of print and I've found very, very hard to get my hands on. I found them. Yes, I've been banging on about these for a few videos. Attack Force Z, which is one with Sam Neill and Mel Gibson. It's like a war film. And this one right here, Long Weekend, which is a classic Australian Ozploitation horror film. I finally got them. I actually went to my local JB Hi-Fi and I said, you know what, I know that these two titles are out of print, but I know that sometimes, even after things go out of print, there's like single copies that float around at certain stores that just haven't been bought up. And in particular, a lot of like the rural stores, a lot of the stores that are just kind of outside of the city, are kind of out bush or country towns, will have titles like this floating around. So I just said to the guy, JB, look, I know they're out of print, but can you just check and see if there are any copies floating around? He looked on the system, he said, there's actually quite a few of these floating around. Let me see if I can get them sent over. And he organised a couple of these to get sent over from a couple of rural stores. Now, as far as I'm aware, there were a number of long weekend discs floating around. I think he said there were at least like half a dozen of them around the country. So if you're after it, my tip is head to JB Hi-Fi and see if your local store can order one of those in. Attack Force Z, I'm not sure how many of those were floating around, but I'm just so happy I finally got my hands on that one. I have the entire Ozploitation Classics line now, I think. Other than there's one which was like a more modern film. I can't remember the name of it. I haven't picked that up. I'm not sure if I will. But there you go. So excited I finally got those two in my collection. I can finally stop the hunt. You always get... The thing is with collecting is there's always something that you miss out on, but there's always a way to get it. You will always get it in the end. I've always found it. If there's ever anything that I've just, has gone out of print, that I haven't been able to find, in the end, I will always find it. So just keep up the persistence. So that kind of gets us into some stuff I picked up recently online and in store as well. Actually, here's a couple that I picked up at JB Hi-Fi recently because they were really cheap, $7. Darkman 2 and Darkman 3. I have had Darkman 1 for a long time. Haven't watched it yet. And I had heard that the 2 and 3 weren't that great. But because they were so cheap and because I believe they're out of print or they're really hard to get your hands on now, I got the case of the FOMO and I thought, I'm going to buy these while they're still there. I'm going to grab them and, while they're cheap as well. And I figure, I'm going to when I watch the first one, if I love that, I'm definitely going to want to go back and watch 2 and 3. I think this one here I got on eBay, actually. Something Borrowed. This is a film, I saw like a little clip of this online. Kate Hudson, I think, posted a clip. And I saw it and I thought, what is this? What's this film? I don't think I've seen this one. And I looked it up, Something Borrowed, and it's got John Krasinski in there, Ginnifer Goodwin. I really like the entire cast. It doesn't have great ratings or anything, which I think is why I probably never picked it up in the past. I looked on my catalog on my phone of all our titles, and I didn't have it. And I got on eBay, I thought, titles like this is actually out of print now, so I couldn't get it in store. But I thought, I'll look on eBay, because titles like this, even after they go out of print, there's always a lot of people selling them. So I got on eBay, there was tons on there. I think I picked this up for $4. So even if it does turn out to be a pretty trashy movie, I think I'll probably enjoy it. I like these like trashy rom-com kind of things. Another out of print title that I just picked up on eBay is Into the Blue with Jessica Alba and Paul Walker. I remember seeing this at the cinemas when I was very young, like this was 2005. So I would have been in like year 8 at the time, second year of high school, and this is just one of the movies that you just go and see. Because Jessica Alba and Paul Walker, how do you get any better than that? It's a really trashy movie. I haven't revisited it since then, but it's always one I've wanted to get in the collection. As I said, it went out of print for a very, very long time. It was issued here in Australia, but I haven't been able to get my hands on an Australian copy. And I found someone in Australia selling this one, which is the US import, and he had it up, I think, for like $20 he was trying to sell it for, and he had like a buy it now like offer. You can either buy it now or submit your best offer. So I thought, like, I'm happy to pay like maybe $15 for this, and I kind of put in like a really lowball offer, which was $8. Hoping that he was going to like haggle with me. I wanted to leave myself enough room to like get to the $15 mark. He just accepted it straight away. So I paid $8 for this. I was very happy with that. This is another kind of out of print title. I picked this one up on Amazon. This next stack of stuff is stuff that I've got as global store orders from Amazon. It's a Sandra Bullock kind of romantic drama film with, what's his name? Harry Connick Jr. in there. Hope Floats, it's called. Now this is a 20th Century Fox film. As I've been saying recently, I've been trying to get my hands on a bunch of like 20th Century Fox films on Blu-ray that I never got into the collection because they're all going out of print now that Disney owns Fox. Essentially, they're not doing extra print runs for these. So I ordered this through the Amazon Global Store, and strangely, it arrived as like a bilingual. This must be like the Canadian edition. When I ordered it, it was the American edition, but it's like the Canadian edition. But it doesn't matter too much because I checked the disc and the disc works and all that stuff, and it is the US disc. So I'm very happy with that. And yeah, it just got a bit of like French writing on the spine there. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to seeing that one. This is one that's actually going to be on Disney Plus Star when that launches in February. So if you want to check that one out, you can check it out on Disney Plus Star. Otherwise, I think this is a disc that is out of print at the moment. So I was very lucky to get my hands on this. I think I paid like maybe 15 bucks for it. 3 titles that I picked up from the Global Store UK. The Life and Death of Colonel Blimp. This is a really classic film from Powell and Pressburger, and it's like a Technicolor extravaganza. I've never seen it, but it's like one of those absolute classics that you just got to see. So I picked that one up. I think that was like $11, I think. Some of these Global Store things are really cheap. And these two here from the Artificial Eye, Curzon Artificial Eye collection I picked up as well. Portrait of a Lady on Fire, which is a movie that I'm really, really looking forward to. It is a French film. I love my French films, and I can't wait to check that one out. Everyone that I know has seen that has just absolutely raved about it. Also picked up The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which is going to be a really weird, quirky movie. It's from the director Yorgos Lanthimos, and he directed some really weird stuff like The Lobster, The Favourite. His movies I'm not sure if I really like, but they're movies that really play on me and that I just can't stop thinking about after I've watched them. Also, this is in the Global Store order. This is one that I got from Amazon Australia. The Alien vs Predator 2-pack. Now, I only picked this one up because they had the 4K box set of the Predator films for $20. So I ordered that, and I thought, well, since I've ordered that, I've got all the Predator films, I've got all the Alien films now, I should get the Alien vs Predator box set as well, just to complete the collection of both franchises. It was $4. $4 for 2 movies. I thought, you know, I'm going to pick that one up. You can't get that one now. Again, it is a 20th Century Fox thing, so I think that's going to go out of print very quickly, so if you want to grab that, grab it up. It's cheap in store at JB Hi-Fi as well. Not as cheap as $4. I think it's like $10. I'm still waiting for my Predator box set to arrive. I think they're waiting for stock, or I just hope I get it. I should say these two here, I think were about $15 each on the Global Store. Now, as I said, we did a massive JB Hi-Fi haul again this month. They're doing a current deal, which is 3 for $30. And then on top of that, last weekend, for the public holiday that we just had here in Australia, they did a 30% off deal as well. So you got 3 for $30, and 30% off on top of that. It essentially came to movies for $7 each. And myself and old mate Rick, we went absolutely wild. We went in a couple of times, picked up a bunch of stuff. For me, it was mostly about just, really what I've been doing this last year is buying catalog titles that I just never got around to picking up. Because when you've got all these new releases coming out, you can't prioritize the newer stuff, and you kind of miss out on a lot of that catalog stuff. So that's been my focus this last year. And I think really I've just about completed my list now, especially with this massive kind of haul that we've done here. There's a ton of movies here. I'm not going to go through them like in depth one by one. We're just going to quickly go through them all, just give you an idea of what we picked up. Again, these were all $7 each. I'm excited to show you guys what we picked up. All right, we'll start off with some of the newer titles that we picked up. This one here, Palm Beach. This is an Australian film starring Brian Brown, Sam Neill, Richard E. Grant. Not a great movie. It really is about like white upper class rich people with white rich problems. There's not a lot of kind of depth to the movie. You can't really sympathize with many of the characters in here, but it's kind of interesting to watch, particularly the 3 leads playing off each other in that. That's actually, the acting range is really terrific. Top End Wedding is a just really fantastic Australian film where this couple, an English man and an Indigenous Australian woman, they are getting married, and she wants to get married at the top end of Australia with her family, so her family can be at the wedding. It ends up like this crazy buddy road trip thing. Her mother goes on the run, and they want to try and find her. She leaves, the mother leaves her father and goes on the run, and they don't know where she is, and they want to try and find her so she can be at the wedding. Such a charming, beautiful, wonderful, funny movie with a lot of heart. I would highly, highly recommend that, particularly if you're interested in Australian cinema or just really wonderful, heartfelt films. Papillon, this is the remake version, which has got Charlie Hunnam and Rami Malek. Godzilla 2, King of the Monsters. I've heard this is a little bit trashy, but I have to watch this one. I've watched Skull Island and the other Godzilla film, so I've got to watch this one before Godzilla v Kong. Alpha. Don't know a lot about this, but it looks quite good. It's an epic adventure set during the last Ice Age. It looks quite fun. Kajaki, also known as Kilo 2 Bravo. This is wonderful. I caught this when I was overseas in the UK. They were playing this on TV. I'm not usually one to kind of just stop and watch a movie that's playing on TV, but it was on, and myself and my girlfriend were like, yeah, we'll check this out. It's a really wonderful film. Great war film. They get kind of caught up in this field of landmines, and they got to try and get out. crazy. It's based on a true story too. Really wonderful movie. So we picked that one up. I'm looking forward to watching that again. Repo Man. This is kind of an older one. This has got Jude Law and Forrest Whitaker in there. This was issued by Shock Entertainment. This is from like 2009 or something like that. So it is a little bit older, but I'm looking forward to like a sci-fi kind of thriller, kind of action crime thing. Home Again, Reese Witherspoon. I thought we actually had this in the collection, but we didn't. So I did pick it up. I love a good Reese Witherspoon, particularly what I've heard, just kind of schmaltzy rom-com movies or romantic films. This has like a really bad rating on IMDb, but I thought, I want to pick that one up because I do like her movies. So we got that one. Hunter Killer. This has got Gerard Butler and Gary Oldman. It's like a submarine movie that ends up in this kind of full-scale war film. It's got Common in there as well. It's okay for what it is. I fell asleep and kept kind of coming to and from. Maybe I was tired. Maybe I just didn't like it. But it's the second submarine set movie in about a month that I've fallen asleep in. So that might tell you something, that maybe I don't like submarine movies. So maybe I'll avoid submarine movies in the future. We've got The Phenom, which is a sports film. It's about baseball. It's got Ethan Hawke in there, Paul Giamatti, Johnny Simmons. This is another one that's got pretty average ratings, but I like a good sports film, a good heartfelt sports film. We got Curse of the Weeping Woman, which I believe is called La Llorona overseas, The Curse of La Llorona, but they've retitled it for the English audience, I suppose, who might not be so familiar with the legend of La Llorona. And I think this, again, another one that's got really bad ratings and stuff, but it's part of that Conjuring franchise, so have to see that one because I love all the Conjuring movies. We've got Red Joan, which has got Judi Dench, Stephen Campbell Moore, Tom Hughes, a bunch of others in there as well. This is a true story about the longest-serving KGB British spy. So it looks actually quite fun. I'd never heard of it, but we saw it sitting there. It's got a good rating and stuff, so we picked that one up. This is one that has dreadful ratings. I've heard nothing but bad things about this movie. Serenity, Matthew McConaughey and Anne Hathaway. I love both of them, and it's just one of those movies that you just have to see if it is as bad as everyone says it is. But as I said, I like both of them, so I think I will enjoy watching that movie no matter how bad it is. We got The Informer, it's like this crime thriller film. It's got Clive Owen, Rosamund Pike, Common again, and Joel Kinnaman is the main guy in that one right there. It looks quite good. It's an intense thriller. So I'm looking forward to checking that one out. I like these movies on like a Friday or a Saturday night. And this one here, Motherless Brooklyn, got a terrific cast. Bruce Willis, Willem Dafoe, Alec Baldwin, Gugu Mbatha-Raw, and Ed Norton. And Ed Norton actually directed this, wrote and directed this one, so I'm looking forward to it. It's like a crime thriller kind of detective story set in 1950s New York, so that is totally my jam, that one right there. Here's a couple of kind of catalogue ones I personally picked up. For some reason, I've got in this massive like Jean-Claude Van Damme phase. Hard Target was the first one that I bought. Last round, you would have seen that in the last video, I said I watched that and I just, so terrible, but I loved it because I was just laughing the whole time. It's just one of those terrible movies you love because it's so bad. So I thought, you know what? There's a bunch of Jean-Claude Van Damme films as part of the 3 for 30. I had to pick them up as well. All of these are just so terrible that I love them. Kickboxer, so fun, so fun. We've got Nowhere to Run. I actually thought this was actually a really good movie. It has a good story. His acting in it's actually really quite good. And the action in it is fantastic. So this is one that isn't really one of his really trashy ones. It's actually a really good film. So check that one out right there. Universal Soldier, I guess that's kind of more of a traditional action film, like something like RoboCop or The Terminator is kind of what this one's more like, more traditional. It's not as, it's over the top in like a 1980s action kind of way, but it's not so bad, like hilarious kind of bad. There are a few kind of funny scenes in it, but it's quite fun. Universal Soldier and Street Fighter. Haven't watched this one just yet. I've been told it's terrible. One of my friends is a huge Jean-Claude Van Damme fan, and he said, don't watch Street Fighter. It is awful. So if someone who loves Jean-Claude Van Damme trashy movies tells you not to watch Street Fighter, you know it's going to be really bad, but you got to watch it. So I'm looking forward to checking out Street Fighter. It's going to be so much fun. It's got Raul Julia in there and Ming-Na Wen as well. So I'm excited to check that. And Kylie Minogue. Aussie export Kylie Minogue. Can't wait to see that one. Also got this one right here. It's called Mobsters. This one stars Christian Slater, Patrick Dempsey, Richard Grieco. I don't really know too much about this one, but it's a release from Shock Entertainment. I love their releases. I love supporting them when I can. And I just love these like 1940s gangster flicks, 1920s kind of gangster flick kind of thing. So I am looking forward to seeing this. Yeah, set in the Roaring 20s New York. Again, it's just my kind of thing. So I can't wait to see that. I also use this 3 for $30 deal to bulk up another chunk of my umbrella collection. I think I've pretty much got all the catalog umbrella stuff that I want at this point, or that I need in my collection. Maybe 1 or 2 other things that I will pick up at some other point. But let's take a look at the ones I picked up this time. I got Uncommon Valor, of course, an American film. This one has got Gene Hackman in it, so I'm looking forward to seeing that. It's like a war film. Don't really know too much about it, but I like a war film. Gene Hackman is just a terrific performer, so I'm looking forward to that. Light Sleeper. This is one with Willem Dafoe from, I guess, the early 1990s, I think. 1991. It's also got Sam Rockwell in there, Dana Delaney, David Clennon, Mary Beth Hurt, Victor Garber. So a really fantastic cast in that. Again, don't know much about it at all. It's directed by Paul Schrader, written and directed by Paul Schrader, so it should be really good. Got great ratings. This one hasn't got terrific ratings. It's got Jesse Eisenberg and Imogen Poots. It's kind of like a horror, kind of thriller, psychological kind of thing. It looks intriguing, so looking forward to having a look at that one there. Another fairly recent one is called Come to Daddy with Elijah Wood. It is like a horror comedy kind of thing. Again, I'm not a huge fan of like slasher, like horror gore stuff, but when it is like a horror comedy kind of one, I'm okay with it. I can get through those. So Come to Daddy looks quite good. It's got good ratings as well. I picked up a couple of Australian films as well from Umbrella. I think I've got all the Australian films from their back catalogue now that I need, apart from one called Backyard Ashes, which I'm having a hell of a time trying to find. This one here is called The Merger, which is from the creators of Backyard Ashes, actually. And it is about this Australian football team which is either going to go bust or has to merge with another team unless it can find a new coach. So this kind of ex-player steps in as the coach, and it is so wonderful. It is hilarious. I was laughing literally from the first scene right until the end. I was expecting this to be just a really crappy Australian comedy, but this is actually one of my favourite Australian comedies in recent memory. It is wonderful. It's got John Howard, Kate Mulvaney, and just a really wonderful cast of well-known Australian faces in there as well. I couldn't highly recommend this enough. I loved it so much. It was such a huge surprise, that one. We picked up this one. It's called The Tracker. I was going to say a new one, but this is actually about 20 years old, almost, this film right here. This one stars David Gopalul. It's also a film by Rolf de Heer, and I can't wait to get into this because I really love these gritty kind of Australian Western films. The Australian Outback, 1922. 4 men relentlessly track a fugitive, an Aboriginal man accused of murdering a white woman. The kind of gritty, kind of Australian history mixed with like like Western aesthetics and stuff. I love a Western set in the Australian Outback, so I'm really looking forward to having a look at that, and apparently it's just a really terrific film. And I also picked up another title from the Ozploitation range. It's not something that I think is really going to be my cup of tea. Again, I don't really like horror gore kind of slasher stuff. But this was part of the deal. It was only $7, and it fills in like kind of that last remaining gap of my Ozploitation Classics line. I thought, I'm going to pick it up. And it is a comedy. It's supposed to be a comedy. So, yeah, I picked it up, and I will watch this at some point, but again, I'm not too sure if it's going to be my cup of tea. But as far as that goes, I've pretty much completed my Ozploitation Classics line now, so I'm very happy about that. And look, that is it, guys. Again, as I said, a whole bunch of stuff. We've got a bunch of great stuff coming from the distributors, as well as a bunch of stuff we picked up at JB Hi-Fi on sale, and some stuff I picked up online, as always. So thanks again for watching. Again, if you want to enter that competition, I'm trying to find the discs. It's buried over here. Jiu-Jitsu and Savage, they're available on Blu-ray and DVD from Madman Entertainment. If you'd like to go in the running to win these 2 DVDs that I hold in my hands right here, I'll be sending them out personally. You can enter down in the comments below. Either let me know your favourite B-grade, straight-to-DVD Nicolas Cage film, or let me know your favourite film that's come out of New Zealand. Down in the comments below. Australian entries only. I can only send these out to Australian citizens, so there you go. Please enter that. I will do another one of these videos in February, of course. I do one of these every month. There's going to be some great stuff coming up in that video as well, and I can't wait for it. So until then, guys, take care. I'll see you next time. Take it easy.
Hey everyone, if you haven't yet, smash that big old subscribe button up on your screen to keep up to date with all my content, and hit that like button down below. Also, don't forget to check me out on social media, and please consider supporting me over on Patreon for as little as $1 a month for exclusive videos, early access content, and to get your name up on the screen. Thanks again for watching.